Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, good evening and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and today it's as picture perfect as a forecast as you can get this time of year. And to be told that this is actually going to continue into your weekend, well, that's honestly the best case scenario. But then to be told it gets even better? I mean, what did we do to deserve this? This is such a blessing. So the seasonable temps, they do stick around, but you might notice that we're not talking about 99, 100, even 102 for some spots like we saw the past couple of days. What we saw today is going to be the theme for the latter part of our work week and then heading into the weekend. The rain chances remain very limited. We're talking little to none, basically, so that's why I put as many Ys as I did to really emphasize how dry of a forecast it's going to be. And speaking of what's that weekend forecast looking like, of course, walking through that in detail coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10. Let's first jump into just the SkyCam network, just what we're seeing across the area. 75 degrees there in Batesville, feeling like 77. That dew point already in the mid-60s. It's going to be a much cooler forecast, and that dew point might actually be some people's real temperatures as we head into our Friday morning. Cleveland, 75, feeling like 75. Oh my word, I don't know why the numbers got me confused. 6 miles an hour, those winds coming out of the north, and you can see those breezy conditions there on the American flag. A beautiful evening all across the area. Macon showcasing 75 degrees. Dew point's not as low, but that moisture, as it kind of recedes south, will drop those temperatures, but where that moisture remains, and that's really going to be Noxubee County, and for parts of Pickens County, it's still going to be a pretty mild start to the day. And mild is a loose term for tomorrow morning. Tupelo 73, but that dew point, like we talk about, the further north you go, the drier that air is. So dew point's already in the mid-60s, and I know for all those early risers as they head out the door tomorrow morning, you're going to walk out the door to a breath of fresh air. You're just going to want to soak it all in. Probably not even going to want to head on the road if you don't have to. So what we're going to look at first, I actually want to adjust this here real quick because it seems like the first 12 has gotten buried, and the first 12 needs to be what we're talking about right now, just because that is such an important topic as we head over the next 12 hours and into tomorrow morning. You might notice temperatures getting into the low 70s, and I talked about those upper 60s possible. Well, that's going to be within that 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. threshold, and a lot of those clear skies still remaining in the forecast. So that it's going to be a beautiful sunrise, worth waking up for. And if the sunrise isn't enough for you, the cooler temperatures are for sure this time of year. So let's jump back into Mississippi Live Weather. We're going to loop this over the last, what do we think, 3 hours. We can get a few of those showers that move there through Noxubee and Pickens County. This area, this threshold that we're seeing, I'm going to draw it right here to kind of showcase what we're looking at. This is our best area of seeing some of that moisture remain. And what this means is that there's going to be some clouds and also some of that mugginess still lingering. So that's going to be what we talk about when we say moisture, and also very isolated when it comes to those rain chances also possible in the forecast. I'm not going to write out ISO showers, but just know that's also assumed in this graphic. But on the north side of this area, what we're talking about is drier air, not just when it comes to the clear skies, but also when it comes to how it feels heading out the door, not bringing that mugginess into the forecast. And so this feels like value is not going to be overly oppressive. So this line, kind of the standard right there. And I should say that this is kind of where the line goes actually, because northwest Alabama also included with this same forecast of muggy and cloudy for the extent of our Friday. It's an unfortunate part about it, but a big driver in that forecast has been this boundary that's lingered over our area with that low right there over the top of us. Now this low, whenever we have it where it is, positioned where it is, you get this counterclockwise motion. And as that happens, it transitions some of that Gulf moisture into our area. But once it gets to the northern side of the state, we also have these northern winds that are battling that Gulf moisture at the same time. So you have this front that moved through earlier on that's blowing in that northern air. So that's why we have this boundary right here where it's drier and cooler, but then you have this moisture trying to move in, and that's where we get some of those partly cloudy skies in our area. But Noxubee, Winston, and Talley County, probably our best chance of seeing some of that moisture linger and some of those showers. You can already see, I'm going to use a different color. Let's use purple. purple on a Thursday. And some of those isolated showers happening there towards central Alabama. Some of those try to wrap around there towards northwest Alabama. So definitely seeing the chance at a few of those pop-up showers, but not overly high on those rain chances. That's the very limited chance that we were talking about. I talked about this with Matt. Whenever we draw on this, I'm always just curious at the end, would someone understand what we wrote? And I almost want to screenshot this and share it and see if anyone can get an idea of what this means. You know what? If you want to do that, be my guest.
I mean, I've been typing over here and I'm looking and I'm a little confused.
A little bit, and you are a meteorologist.
I understand.
Yeah, so I'm so sorry if you're just now joining us, but you'll kind of get the gist as we head into the rest of the forecast, but hopefully that made sense for folks that are wondering. Just basically, it's going to be more of that moist, muggy forecast the further south and east you go. That's the summary. So looking at your Friday morning, you can see that cloud cover still lingering about that same general area, but those northern winds bring in that drier forecast for a lot of us here on the northern side of the state. 6 a.m. still sticking with those dry conditions, but whenever we say a partly cloudy forecast or a mostly clear forecast, primarily we're talking about south of 82. North of there, it's clear skies with plenty of sunshine. So you kind of got to take that sparingly when we're forecasting for the entire viewing area. 9 a.m., those clouds recede just a bit further to the south, but as that low moves a little bit more towards the north and west, well, that's where we get that moisture lingering back into the forecast, and especially wrapping around a few of those showers there towards northwest Alabama. Chances not overly high, as you can see, very sporadic development, but into that 3 to 6 p.m. threshold. That's where we get those chance at a few of those pop-up showers, a few of those containing some brief heavy downpours, but not overly high for any inclement weather, not overly high for severe weather, or not overly high on the lightning output either. Just going to be a decent drenching that we honestly still need, but we'll enjoy the drier conditions while they're here. Plenty of sunshine, like I mentioned, throughout the day. This is primarily for the northern half of our viewing area. Back towards the south, that cloud cover still lingering in parts of the area. But temperature-wise, mid-60s, one can dream. Mid-80s by lunchtime and then low 90s by 3 p.m. So it's going to be a toasty forecast still right around our seasonable average. But the fact that mugginess not playing a part in our forecast means that it's going to feel so much more bearable. We're tracking that coming up in the next 60s, just that extended forecast into our weekend. And of course, your 7-day forecast, which looks picture perfect. It's drawing a tear to my eye just thinking about it. We'll be walking through that in detail coming up in the next minute.
Turn it up!
Friday night, August 22nd, WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi tag teams with Memphis Wrestling to raise money for St. Jude. Join us at the Tupelo Super Show. Reserve your seat at memphiswrestling.tv.
At Room to Room, did you know our specialty is custom ordered upholstery? Get the furniture you want and the fabric and color selection you want. With our free design service, we won't let you make a mistake.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather. We're starting with a live look outside of there in Aberdeen. 72, feeling like 64. Those temperatures just continue to get better into the rest of our Thursday night, Friday. I mean, setting the scene, it's already the best day of the week, but this is what makes it even better is because of those cooler temperatures moving into the forecast. 73, feeling like 75, but look at that dew point, 64 degrees. So that's how much those temperatures will cool off for some of us. Yes, we are talking mid-60s for your morning commute tomorrow morning for some isolated locations. Winona coming in with 75 degrees, but that dew point a bit higher as we go further south there towards Montgomery County. So that's the thing with the forecast. The further south you go, the more muggy that forecast will be, the less those temperatures drop overnight. But the further north you are, especially with some of those stronger northerly winds, I mean, we're talking mid-60s across the region. So Mississippi Live Weather Radar, we circulated this back 3 hours or so, and you're getting that last little bit of moisture down there towards Noxubee and Pickens County. But that was it. The day staying up mostly on the drier side. This was a look over the last 24 hours. You can see where the heaviest pockets were. Most of those downpours, this was actually late last night, about 10 p.m. So 24 hours, unfortunately, is not the full day. It's 10 p.m. yesterday. And a lot of this rainfall happened from 10 p.m. to midnight. So that's the unfortunate thing about it. You saw 2 inches at a lot of locations, but as we wrap this up for the last 12 hours, kind of gives you an idea of what we saw today as a lot of those showers moved in primarily towards the afternoon. A lot of that down there towards Noxubee and Pickens County, even parts of Lamar County, just on the other side of Soligent there. So that's where we saw the primary threshold for rainfall. Very limited in those rain chances today, and those just become even more limited in that extended forecast. Drop off tomorrow morning, about 69 degrees, and then lunch, 84. Last bell, we're finally hitting 90 degrees as we wrap up the day. So kids, as we're heading home, go ahead and let the parents know we're going to be meeting you at the park, because it needs to be a time where we're heading outside to soak in this forecast, because rarely this time of year do we see these conditions. Looking at that Futurecast kind of highlights that exact forecast heading overnight and into the start of our Friday. So that drop off, I mean, it's going to be slightly cooler, not going to be sweater weather, but we're trending that way. I'm not saying I smell pumpkin spice, but it's definitely in the air. Looking at 7 a.m., partly cloudy skies with a lot of that moisture, like I mentioned, still south of 82. So those low temperatures down there towards Noxubee and Pickens County, 70 degrees would not be out of the realm of possibilities. That really extends all the way west, south of 82 right there. Let's go north, and we're talking 66 Holly Springs, 65 Water Valley, 66 Tunica, Senatobia. Oh, I'm excited for tomorrow morning, if you could not tell. But let's go ahead and head through the rest of the day. And you might notice this boundary behind me. So I'm going to stand on this side of your screen, because that boundary is going to be the big driver in our rain chances tomorrow. That boundary basically having a low form right over the top of it, and that'll wrap around some of that Gulf moisture to produce a few of those pop-up showers into that extended forecast. So this is looking at that noon hour on our Friday. Still seeing that cloud cover remain along the same general area. So unfortunately, it could be a pretty cloudy day for a lot of us down there towards Noxubee, Winston, and Natala County. But further up north, mostly sunny skies throughout our day and very limited rain chances. Here's a look at around 3 p.m. Those rain chances trying to creep in towards Lamar and Pickens County. Not overly high, and I want to say that the wall will prevail there on our viewing area, but fingers crossed on that, because a few of those could definitely pop up. High temperatures, low to mid 90s, so it is still going to be our seasonable average, but the thing is our heat indices right around that same margin. And so whenever that happens, that drier air is in place, and so those feels like values are going to be completely uncomfortable, unbearable. I would say that this is definitely a bearable forecast, even though temperatures are still in the 90s. So let's walk through that Friday evening forecast. Hey, Jamboree football happening tomorrow evening, so this is a perfect forecast for that, bringing in the season nicely. I know there's some seasons where you bring it in and it's just a dreary forecast. So fortunately for us, not going to be the case. So happy football season. We made it. We survived summer here in the South. We're now back in our realm, right, with the football field in our forecast. So let's continue that forecast into our Saturday. It is week 0 in college football, so unless you're Matt Laupon and watching the Jayhawks, you're probably not that eager about this Saturday, but I know that there'll be a lot of rock chalks coming from there in Saltillo. But that forecast for your Saturday stays on the drier side, so perfect for enjoying some Kansas football, or perfect for enjoying heading out and playing football on your own outside, because how good that forecast will be out the door. That sticks around all throughout our mid-morning and late morning on your Saturday, and I'm just going to basically take a step over here to highlight that these are our rain chances. Still around that same threshold back there towards our eastern area. Northwest Alabama going to be included within that by 4 or 5 o'clock. A few of those try to wrap around. This is a bit aggressive. I'm not in fully swayed into the rainy forecast there towards Tishomingo and Prentice County, but a few of those trying to wrap around from Northwest Alabama, definitely something we're watching in that extended forecast. High temperatures, upper 80s are still showing up for some of us, but low to mid 90s. I'm not saying it's going to be 97, 98. I really see us topping out around 95 to 96, but another thing we're tracking over the next 24 hours, heat indices at least showing those drier conditions remaining in place, even with some of that moisture trying to wrap around. But those rain chances, 10% is the theme over the next several days, so not overly high. That's really your typical summer pattern. You're always going to have a day with 10%. But where we're seeing our best rain chances will be Monday and Tuesday, as that frontal boundary fully clears our area and gives us a chance at a few isolated showers. And if you don't believe me that it will be a drier forecast, well, here's the Weather Prediction Center's forecast over the next 3 days. Does that look rainy to you? Doesn't to me either. So that's why we have rain chances basically limited to none. And this weekend continues that same threshold with mostly sunny skies throughout the day, seasonable temperatures, and feeling much drier in the air. So heat indices still not overbearing. That extended forecast though, bam. Like, look at that, 88 degrees for your high temperatures Monday, dropping to 83 and 82 Tuesday and Wednesday. But guys, that's not it. Look at the low temperatures. We're talking about mid 60s come Monday, and that's just the average. A few of us actually in the low 60s by then. We keep that same trend cooling off there into Wednesday, cooling off into Thursday, 61 degrees as we start our day. And hang on, guys. a few of us in the upper 50s. As we get our day started Thursday morning, I am thrilled. If you guys haven't been able to tell, and I know there's several of us out there as well, we know that once we get in these hot months, we kind of just prefer the cooler temperatures. But trust me, in about 4 months, we'll be saying, where's the heat? Where's the heat? So enjoy those last few days of summer. We're still about 30 days away from fall. So, but definitely appreciating some of that cool down as we head into the next few days. So we actually do have some pictures submitted by you guys from around the area this evening. This was earlier this morning, Joshua capturing this beautiful sunrise in New Albany. That was when a few of those clouds were trying to linger in the area, but then as the day went on, those clouds cleared right on out. Union County was plentiful with sunshine today. We actually had some storm damage, we have one more graphic, I apologize. Tripp and Lee County submitted this of the altostratus clouds there up in the sky, kind of highlighting a good portion of our sky and interacting that moisture in the clouds interacting with that sunshine and making for some, not translucent, what's the word I'm looking for? Iridescence there in the clouds. So a good shot of that. And this horizontal development on those clouds really highlighting our day. There was no vertical component that was lifting those clouds. So that's why we saw very little rain chances, but even a few partly cloudy skies. This is what I jumped the gun on earlier. Michael in Detroit, Alabama submitting this picture. He said he went out this morning. This is from late last night as some of those storms cycled on through, and a tree limb, a pretty large tree limb at that, fell off the tree, broke off, and then punctured the roof of the home. You can see the power crews out there trying to restore that. So a big thank you to Michael just for giving us this report, and we'll of course forward that on to the National Weather Service there in Birmingham. So that's why we need you guys. You guys help us report that damage and of course get that information to who it needs to go to, so that way crews can get out there to help them. Power crews are already there, but also so we can get those reports to the National Weather Service to better issue warnings, better get an idea on how these storms are interacting and cooperating and just behaving in general. So Diane in Pontotoc County, we're going to keep these pictures going. Captured this picture, another great shot of that horizontal development right there. There was no vertical component on any of these, so no rain chances were expected. That continues to be the case in the extended forecast as well. So if you see clouds, more than likely they're going to be flat as a pancake. Jason in Hamilton, Mississippi captured this great shot, and I love this picture because it just shows some of that cloud debris from some of those storms back towards the south. We were talking at 6 what the word was. We figured it out. It was cloud debris. Shout out Matt, because he uses that terminology, and I love that terminology. So this was some of that wraparound moisture from some of those storms that just moved a little bit north, but no rainfall was associated with it and just added to what was already a beautiful sunset here in North Mississippi. So this pretty much wraps up our 10 o'clock broadcast, and a lot of good news coming from it and a lot of things to be excited about heading into our weekend. So we are pumped. We are excited, and we hope that you guys are too. We'll be back for our broadcast coming up at 5, 6, and 10 tomorrow evening. And of course, if you want to tune in, right here, Mississippi Live Weather app. Go ahead and download that on iOS and Android today. Let your friends know, let your neighbors know that they need the app as well, so that way they can be informed on all things weather here in North Mississippi. And I will say, we're not just covering North Mississippi. We cover a large part of the United States on those big weather stories of what they need to know and what you need to know before you head out the door. Our next broadcast, like I mentioned, 5, 6, and 10 on your Friday, finally Friday. Heading into the morning, tomorrow morning should be a beautiful start with fantastic conditions as the day goes on. Enjoy them, and I hope that you guys have a fantastic Friday, and we'll see you back here at 5 p.m. tomorrow evening.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.